Hey guys, this is Deepak here from digitaldeepak.com, and today we are with Riddhi from the batch 4 of the internship program. Riddhi runs a channel where she talks about parenting, and recently she has crossed 50,000 followers on Instagram. So today we are going to ask Riddhi about her journey in the past 6 months to 1 year in the internship program, and as well as the experiences that she has gained in trying to build a personal brand of her own. So, Riddhi, welcome to the call.
Yes, hi Deepak. Thank you so much for having me here. And yes, so it's been amazing. This lockdown has actually proven to be very, very productive for me. And I had absolutely no idea about the digital space, even though I've been in the retail space for almost 5 years now. But it was only through these e-commerce platforms like Amazon, Flipkart, like Marketplace. I was retailing apparels for men, women, and kids. So I did that for 3 years, and then I had my own retail store that was exclusively for women. So I've been in the retail space for 5 years, but I don't know why I never really explored the digital space. Probably because the offline sales were also good for me, and I just didn't uh, feel that I should explore it. But during the lockdown, obviously, like my retail business shut down completely overnight, and it did come as a shock because the workers refused to work. There were pending orders to service. The customers were not sure whether they still wanted the outfits because their events were cancelled. So it did come as a shock. But then I think this is something that I get from my father. Like, if there is a problem, I never really feel very sad or demotivated, or I feel like my life has ended, because I just feel that it's actually just money, and in the end, right, that's what you're losing. So I'm not losing my life even if my business shuts down. So then I was like, okay, now this is definitely not going to work for me, so I have to figure out something else. And and it really worked out well for me, because I was sharing content on parenting, and this is something that I was just doing out of pure passion. There was no aim to monetize the content that I was creating. So I love to write, and I just started sharing information about my journey with my son, about my experiences and things that I was doing with him, the activities that I was engaging him with. And I was just on Instagram, and I saw Saurav Jain's ad. That was a story ad that I saw, and I usually never see any other profile on Instagram. I usually just go post and that's it. But because COVID, there was so much free time, so I was actually exploring Instagram, and I was checking stories, and I saw this ad, and it was a free webinar. Until then, I didn't even know what a webinar is, what is the concept. And the whole aim of me joining that webinar was to actually check out what a webinar actually means. So I signed up, and then I'm a very impulsive buyer when it comes to anything to do with knowledge or education. And that is also something that I've just figured out during the COVID. I didn't know that I'm actually an impulsive buyer. So then I bought that program, and that actually happened to be a game changer for me,
Hmm.
because the same content, the style was almost similar, the content, it was the same person, but the follower count just kept increasing, because I think they in the course they very properly explained the kind of content that you should create, and also encouraged me to create videos, which was something that I was not doing. I was only posting pictures with a lot of write-ups, but I don't feel that people have the time to read, or even if they have, they don't want to. They just want to check out good pictures, like, and then just exit. But a video can actually make the user stop and actually listen to you if you can get their attention in the first 10 to 15 seconds. So that was a game changer. And then I signed up for this DMC, that 199, that charity cause. And of course, my email ID got registered with all the digital masters, and then I was retargeted like majorly on my email.
What
And
do we do as digital
given the
marketers?
impulsive buyer that I am, I
Uh,
kept entering different webinars, and I think there's not been a single webinar that I've entered and not ended up
okay.
buying. Sometimes when I feel that I don't want to spend, I make sure that I don't enter a webinar. So
Okay.
then after Saurav Jain's program, I got introduced to Siddharth Rajshekar's hackathon.
Hmm.
So that's what that was again, phenomenal. I feel that the sequence that I actually ended up with worked out really well for me, because in Siddharth Rajshekar's program, I learned how to create digital products. Again, something very new, and I'm very like a target driven person. So if I set a target, I try to achieve it. So the hackathon was, implement driven. So I had to implement everything that was there. So then the products were ready and the Instagram was happening on the side. But now the part was how to sell those products. Creating something is very easy, but selling something is very difficult. So I think Siddharth talks about the webinar, but I was not very comfortable with the webinar because I personally felt that my products were also not very amazing. So I was not very convinced 100%. Also, I wasn't sure how the parents would accept it. So I wanted to test the products through my Instagram page to see if parents are actually liking it before I jumped in and I started doing the webinar. And then I got introduced to your internship program, which was like, I'll say it was like a huge game changer for me, because I understood what are the different things that I need to know and what are the different pieces that I have to connect.
Yes.
Because for me, like digital was just Instagram. Like I had absolute till March 2020 for me, digital was just Instagram, going, posting, and shutting my phone. That's all that I did. But then, then I understood that there is SEO, there is lead generation, there's landing page, there is a Google ad, Facebook ad. So there are so many different things that you can do. And yeah, so that's and there was a mind block that I had, that I cannot do it and I'm technologically handicapped. Even with the TV remote, I used to always give it to my husband that please put this, put Netflix, or put Amazon Prime. I don't want to do it. So that handicap is actually gone now. Now I don't feel that I'm handicapped, and I don't feel that it is difficult if you actually sit down and try to do those things, because the way you've structured the program and you've given enough time to actually understand and to execute. So I don't feel that you need to have any prior digital knowledge as such if you wish to do all of these things. And the T-shaped model that you spoke about, that it's important to know, but you can actually first specialize in one thing and then try to explore everything else. So right now I'm trying to specialize in that personal branding space.
Fantastic.
And I'm not sure if I'll be able to do all of the things that you mentioned myself. But what I feel is that at least now I'm in a system or in a community where I have people who can help me achieve those things. So I think you also interviewed Lalit and he created a landing page for me. So
Oh,
it's so easy, so now I'm in that system. And website can be really like people can cheat you. Like I've gotten cheated many times in the past because I really didn't get connected to the right people.
hmm.
So I have outsourced website development to a few people for my previous businesses, and it wasn't exactly what I wanted, and it wasn't very efficient and functional. Like again, this is something that I learned, that a website aesthetics are important, but functionality is even more important. So when
Yes.
I showed my website, the website that I created in Siddharth's this thing hackathon, so when I showed it to people, everybody loved it. But after your this thing video, I hated my website because it was not functional at all. It just looked good, but there was nothing that I was capturing, no information. I was not directing people. I was not, getting them into a system where I could nurture them.
Hmm.
So that's why now I'm actually planning to again outsource my website. I think I've already done it. I've outsourced it to Lalit only, and
Okay.
he's doing my website again and making it more functional, adding all those buttons. So I feel that the best part here is that, of course, I understand that if I want, I can do it, but time is limited, and time is a very very important resource. So I just want to use that time in understanding my niche, understanding what people want, creating good content and good products. So when I started off, I thought I'll do everything on my own, and it's not working out for me. I don't think it's possible to do everything yourself.
Yes. Yes.
And so now I'm slowly, like one thing at a time, I'm just trying to put all the pieces together.
Hmm.
So hopefully 4 5 years down the line, this should be something really big.
Yes.
That's the
Yes.
plan. So
Fantastic.
yes.
Quite a journey there. And Some of the
Yes, and
things.
also Gaurav Gurb. So one thing
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
should
sure.
mention him also, since I mentioned the others, if he in case ends up watching, and Gaurav Gurbaksani's this thing freelancing thing that I did, Get Freddy. That was also very good because even though like in terms of learning, I couldn't learn a lot because I was very busy when those classes were conducted because I was living with my in-laws then. But then I had a call with him for 10 minutes. That's a 10-15 minute call that he does with all those people who enroll with him, where he mentioned that, what is, you have to pick one gig, and what gig would you pick? So, that really got me thinking that I have no skill sets. I don't know what gig should I pick. Like, I can write good content, but I don't know who to write content for. And, I know how to manage Instagram, but I don't know how to manage it and how to approach people and tell them that I can do this for you. So that got me thinking, and then I thought that okay, Instagram management is something that I feel I can do because this is something that I manage. And he also encouraged that you can actually do it for free for a few people. So
Mm.
that's what I did. I handled two Instagram accounts for free on the site with the program, and it really worked well. Actually, it was better than my account also,
Okay.
the follower and the ad performance and everything. So that's when I got the confidence that I could do it. So now I'm handling 6 7 accounts, and that is like
Okay.
a huge passive income on the side for me.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I recommend for my interns, right? That you need to do multiple things where you
Right.
can do freelancing, help some clients, and there is a lot of learning there apart from the earning. And then you can put it back and build your own brand, because building your own brand will take a few years to really get to a level where it is like life-changing money. And some of the things that you talked about, it was quite a lot for me to process, by the way. But I was
Uh,
just mentally putting a pin on things. One of the things that you talked about, which I want to also talk about, is this whole attitude of being ready for whatever that happens, and then using it as an opportunity to build something else, because that will keep happening. And a lot of the new interns are just getting started in their career, and what will happen is that 5 years, 10 years, 20 years into the game, there will always be things that will completely change the way you do things. Like, for example, the pandemic will come, lockdown will happen, some rules and regulations will change, taxation structure will change. But that is the nature of business. You cannot be static. And whenever that happens, people usually get disappointed immediately. But then, out of the requirement that now you can't just be comfortable with what you were doing all the time, you might want to do something new, and they end up doing something new, and that picks up much better than what they were doing. And they can always look back and say that, okay, that happened, which was like the biggest stumbling block at that time, but also the best thing that happened in my career. Like, people might say that getting fired was the best thing that happened in my life,
yeah.
or getting divorced was the best thing that happened in my life. Completely change your life path and career path. And I think people should definitely be a little bit more stoic, rather than feeling like, okay, everything has ended. And even in the cryptocurrency space, when RBI banned cryptocurrency in 2018, then there was a Supreme Court ruling which overturned it. It actually helped the cryptocurrency space, and it made it more popular. And now the crypto exchanges are booming, and probably there might be a problem again, and this will keep happening. And people should be a little bit aware about it and not feel like everything has ended. And imagine if you were stuck with your retail business, it might have gone very competitive, and you might have always been struggling. But now you have like a unique advantage, which is
Right.
personal branding and trying to leverage your personal brand. And we have seen a lot of personal brands become like billion-dollar companies in US, right?
Right.
Especially Instagram creators, YouTube creators. Once they create a merchandise, and once they create a business around their personal brand, then it becomes very powerful. And one of the things that I see different in you is that you are not just an influencer Instagram, where you are always just posting content and trying to make money from advertising or brand sponsorships. You, I think, have your own products, right?
Yes, so I have created a lot of products. So the digital products I created during Siddharth's hackathon. So those were like a series of parenting products. And then once I started selling, and people really responded well to the products, and I had very good reviews from mothers about kids learning. So all my videos, since they are catering to kids, I've kept them really small because mothers also have this reservation about too much screen time. So I've
Yes.
kept them like really, like 2 minutes. Some are also just 40-second long. So there's just like in 2-3 minutes, there's a lot of information that you can give your child, and you'll actually see the difference in the child. Over a period of time, you'll see that your child is speaking new words or is understanding new vocabulary. And I feel that's what happened. And I got a phenomenal response. But then I realized that there were a set of parents who didn't want digital at all. Like they just didn't want it. So then I thought that I should create physical products. And actually the thought, more than not wanting, there was this mother, she sent me a message and she said that I love your products, but I don't have a smartphone and I don't have a laptop. And but I want it, like she had Instagram. So like, you have Instagram, smartphone to hoega hi. So she was like, no, but my internet is very slow. I'm very, not very confident about these things. But if you ever have a physical product, I'll definitely buy it. So that's when I got the idea. So all my ideas are actually coming from mothers.
Yes.
So
From the
honestly, I've
customers. That's
not
the best
thought
way.
of too many ideas myself. Every idea. So every time somebody sends me a message, I have this WhatsApp group which just has me in it. So and my mother, so I'd added her. And every time I get an idea, I just put it there, and then I either create a post with it, or if I feel that this can be converted into a product, I create a product out of it. And that's what I have. That's what happens. So every month I'm targeting that I want to create at least one new thing. So then I created Know Your Letters. So now I'm working on this whole Know Your series. I've created Know Your Letters. Then I've created Know Your Numbers. And next there'll be like 20-30 topics like Know Your Shapes and Know Your Colors and Know Your Animals, Know Your World, Know Your Planet. So that's the idea that I'm working on. And then there'll be like a huge bundled access to the topics. And all these topics have also kept a physical and a digital access. So there's also a digital access. So if you want the PDF, you can just get access to the PDF for a lot lesser. And so that's how it's working. And I've been getting a lot of sales, and all my sales have happened through Instagram right now. But now I'm planning to move to landing pages, and then eventually like webinars is the last thing that I'm
Fantastic.
definitely going to try. Yes.
Fantastic. So, one of the things that you mentioned that, you cannot do all the things yourself, which is very true. And I have not created a proper landing page or a website myself for quite some time now, even though I can. But now I have team members helping me do it. I sometimes outsource it to freelancers. But a lot of people think that, you need to be like a one-man show, one-man army doing everything. But it need not be. At the same time, the focus has to be on trying to find the perfect product market fit, trying to build a community, trying to build a brand, and understanding what the customers really want. Because I feel that is the golden link in the entire thing. And if you can manage that, then everything can be outsourced. End of the day, it's just about communication. And if people can develop WordPress websites for you, write copy for you, it's all fine. But you have to be the personal brand and build a business around your personal brand. In fact, if you start building a brand where you represent the brand as the personal brand, the followers are still yours, because people want to follow people. People don't want to follow companies, right? And that's what we see Elon Musk doing. When you look at the followers of Tesla or SpaceX, it's not much. Elon Musk has like 40 plus million followers. And people want to follow people because people want to hear from people on what they think, not what a company thinks, because the company does not have a face. So that is one interesting point that you brought up. And I think
This
moving
is my
forward,
biggest takeaway from your course, actually, because in the retail sector, I've been in for almost 5 years, but I had never thought of actually branding myself. And that was something that I had never, given a thought to. But this was definitely my biggest takeaway, that people buy people and not products. And because, there are so many people creating products on letters and numbers And when I was actually creating Know Your Letters, my husband told me, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Because he's always trying to protect me, ki nahi bikega, then she'll be so sad, and and all that. So he's always trying to protect me. So he keeps telling me, "Forget it, don't make it." And I was like, "No, let me try. This is not that difficult." And when I started selling, I was like, "Yeah, people are buying." So I think people buy people, and if you can set an example and tell them, "Yeah, this is working for me.
Mm.
This might work for you as well."
Yes.
So I think this personal brand thing really works. Like,
And it's very
I'll
easy to
put
convince other parents because you are a parent yourself, and
right, right,
you
definitely.
are putting yourself in the shoes of them, and that way you can understand their needs also better. Imagine a very big corporate is investing money into creating a parenting brand. I mean, they might be in a situation where their children might have grown up, or they
Right.
might be very disconnected from the customers directly. And probably you should try having like one-on-one calls with your existing customers and try to understand their needs better, because one of the things that has been very useful for me is to have these one-on-one calls. Like right now, these one-on-one calls obviously go to my YouTube channel, helps me in marketing and everything, but at the same time there are certain things that you cannot find with a survey. You cannot like put it on statistics, right? You cannot just give multiple choice options and open-ended questions and let people answer it, because there is a huge psychographic component here, and understanding the
Mm.
customer will definitely help you write better copy and write better communication,
Right.
because there will be hidden things that will get exposed when you are talking to someone, especially one-on-one, because people won't come out in a vulnerable way and talk about their fears, frustrations, and desires, which is mostly what is driving the purchase process in the first place. Like there could be a deep seated fear or desire about their own kids, which they will never put it out there, which they will also not consciously think about.
Right,
They
right.
might not even know that it's inside them. But if you ask the right questions and if you probe it properly, like for example, I'm just trying to give a random example, might not be true, but imagine a parent might have a fear that my kid might end up growing up in such a way that with other kids he's not very smart. This will never come out in a survey. And if
Right.
you create a product which subconsciously communicates that, it might not be via text,
Mhm.
it could be via a picture, or it could be via the marketing video or whatever you create, where this person is positioned as a smart kid among other kids. Then it
Right.
will kind of push that buttons inside their mind, and they will end up purchasing.
No, this is
And yeah, that's
yeah,
one of
the
the things.
one-on-one call, yeah, definitely. So I did a few free one-on-one calls also. Right now, I've started charging a little,
Hmm.
but initially I did a lot of free one-on-one calls, and this was again like gave me so many ideas
Yes.
for my Instagram post also, and also there were things that I never experienced as a mother, and because everybody is living in a different environment and everybody has different. Like a different way of living. They're living in a different setup, like a joint setup. They're living and interacting with different people. So sometimes like for me maybe it was not that difficult, and I thought that okay, this is not very challenging, but for another mother it could have been very very difficult and challenging. And
Hmm.
that is something that I realized when I spoke to these mothers, that okay, these are also these are issues that also exist. So every time I did a one-on-one call, I wrote a post about it on
Okay.
Instagram, because that is very quick for me. So instead of taking notes on WhatsApp, what I usually do is I create a post and I post it. And yeah, in between, I was also spamming Instagram because of this. I was doing 5, 6 posts because I was just actually using it to record all these messages. But yes, this the one-on-one calls definitely work. And even now, whatever one-on-one calls I have,
Hmm.
and they are very like you get very deep insight into their lives,
Yes.
which
Yes.
is something that you can never get from a questionnaire. So even before the products, I had rolled out a Google form where I collected, the question was what is your biggest parenting challenge. So
Hmm.
before I created the digital products,
Hmm.
and then I got like some 130 responses through
Hmm.
that Instagram swipe up feature. And then I divided those into buckets, like stress was one challenge, then the other challenge was around this mindful parenting thing, that I'm not sure if my child will be confident or if my child will be smart. Then there was related to food. People were having challenge. So all these topics, I put into 5, 6 different buckets, and then I created products for every challenge. And that's why I feel that the day I launched, it started selling instantly because
Yes,
it was
yes,
actually answering the questions that they wanted answers
yes,
to.
yes. When the product market fit is great, you
Right.
don't need to sell the product. You just need to let people know that the product exists and the
Right.
product will sell itself.
Yeah, so I didn't have to sell at all till now. Yeah, and even the blog thing, I want to mention that you had blog and the tribe building. These were also two very amazing takeaways from your program, where you emphasize that don't be dependent on a social media platform,
Mm.
because I was 100%, like this business will also, die the
Yes.
day Instagram dies. So I was like, okay, now that I'm building this, I have to actually protect this and try to start building my list, and also try and drive people into a Telegram group.
Mm.
So that is something that I'm still doing. I'm constantly, through that swipe up feature on Instagram, I'm driving people into my Telegram group, into my Facebook group, also building an email list.
Mm.
But I'm still not nurturing my leads that well. So that is something that I still have to work on,
Mm.
like the nurturing of leads. Like
Yes.
the list is building every day, it's growing, but it's not being nurtured properly. So that is my next
Mm.
aim, to start nurturing. And I'm hoping that you'll create a product around this. Like,
Yes.
like you have so many products for lead generation. I think you can also create, like, this is just a advice that you can also have a product where you can actually help users to nurture the leads,
Yes.
like an email sequence, or like ideas for what could be the subject for your email based on your niche.
Mm.
And then because it's going to force us to write and send out those emails.
Yes.
So
Yes.
because
I have plans for that. I have plans for that. So I'm going to start something called Niche Today.
right,
And the company that I have registered recently is Learn Today. That is going to be my
right,
brand. So we created like a sister brand called Niche Today. And
right,
the idea is to talk about different niches and content ideas, keywords, and everything. So
right,
in that, we will probably create like a template, but we are also working on some SaaS products where people can plug in their content and let the engagement take care of itself.
okay,
But before that, one of the ideas that I could give you is that try to come up with a list of probably 10 to 20 questions that mothers frequently have, the most important questions, and you can maybe categorize it a little bit as well. One of the problems with nurturing the leads is that it has to be consistent, but the content creation from your side can never be consistent. It'll always come in spurts. You can think about, okay, I will write one article every week consistently, but it will never happen. You might be able to write four articles in a week because you are just having a lot of free time. Maybe you are on a vacation, you have your laptop with you, and then the creative juices are flowing. But then what will happen is that there will be like another 1 month where you will not be, life will get in the way. You will have busy things to do. But when it comes to the audience always wants to listen and hear from you on a consistent basis. They have to look forward to it. Okay, every week there will be something. So the basic idea is that just create a drip marketing sequence or an autoresponder, and the 10-20 questions that mothers frequently ask, just write one article on each and every question that needs to be answered. And it could be 500 to 700 words as well. It could be 2000 words as well, and put it on a drip sequence in such a way that one email is sent out every 5 days or every 7 days. And you can use ConvertKit or Aweber or ActiveCampaign or any of these standard tools and get people to subscribe there, and also get your Telegram group to go inside there,
right,
and publish the same articles on your blog as well, so that if people receive the email newsletter, most of the people will not click on another link and go read it,
mhm,
but they will read it on the same email inbox. So you have to put the content inside the email. But if they want to share it with someone else, there is also a blog link that is available inside
right,
the email newsletter. And you can put it on the blog in such a way that it's not very obvious that people can just go to the blog and read the articles. It will be there inside the pages, like let's say riddhidiora.com/blog/ the article name. And this article should also rank on the search engines, and they should also be shareable on social media. So that way, what will happen is that instead of trying to come up with new content all the time and publishing on social media all the time, because most of the content that you have published on social media ends up dying. the
Mhm.
like the content that you have posted like 1 month back on social media, it will probably never see the light of the day, right? It will get like buried into the digital space forever. And that is also the problem with social media, right? Because the competition is so high in trying to get attention, and obviously fresh content will have a little bit of appeal. But the problem is that when people try to create a lot of fresh content, the quality also goes down. And when
Mhm.
the quality goes down, it becomes even more difficult to stand out of the crowd. And people who do this full time like a media company, and probably don't have too many other obligations, are the ones excelling on YouTube. And when you look at YouTubers who have 5 lakh subscribers, 10 lakh subscribers, they do only YouTube, and they
Mhm.
only depend on YouTube AdSense revenue, which unfortunately will keep going down. There is no other way. It is science, because the number of users are not increasing, but the
Correct.
number of creators are increasing. So in the same platform, if there are 100 creators and 1,000 users, each creator has access to on an average 10 users. But if you have 200 creators and same 1,000 users, then you will have 5 users that each creator can reach. So I feel that instead of spending time on engaging people on social media, the time is better spent in creating content which is more of a long-term content. Like for example, a lot of parenting concepts will never change, right?
Right.
On how the brain develops for a kid, it will never change. They say that in the first 5 years is when the kid starts eventually realizing that the kid has something called like an ego. And there is this thing called mirror test, where at a particular age, 2 years or 3 years, kids eventually
Understood.
can realize looking at a mirror that it's my reflection. Before that, they cannot. They think that it's some other kid. And they do it with animals also. So a lot of things, if you read a lot of books, these examples, anecdotes on like marshmallow test, very good
Right.
example, right? All these things are perennial. And there is this book by Ryan Holiday, one of the best digital marketers I know, called Perennial Seller. And he talks about creating content that will sell for like 100 years, or
Wow.
200 years, because that's what stands out today.
Right.
Shakespeare's work or whoever in the
Mhm.
history created content which stands the test of time. And imagine if Shakespeare had social media, he might have been addicted to these likes, comments, and shares, and he might have been creating shallow content all the time, and it will like just die down.
Right.
There is
Right.
no other way. It's about less content and more quality, so that it stands
Mhm.
the test of time. Like for example, let's say parenting rule book. If you write a book, um, and you don't need to like write a book anymore. It can be maybe 52 chapters. Each chapter can be like 2 pages long, and there you go, you got like 100-page book. And each of these book chapters can be a newsletter, it can be a blog post, and it's like you just write 52 articles of 500 to 1,000 words each, and now you try to repurpose this content as much as possible. You put it into an infographic, put it on social media, link back to your blog, then link back to your newsletter. So all the manifestations of this content can be in 1,000 different ways, but everything leads back to, let's say, your newsletter and your book. So if people subscribe to the newsletter, in every email, you link to the book. Uh,
Right.
and in every newsletter email, you link to that particular chapter, which is also a blog post. And in every blog post, there is a social media thing. So even if you spend the next 3 years in just writing 52 solid chapters, then your career is set, right? You have created your super foundational content. On top of it, you can casually create videos. And there is
Mhm.
also this thing about content, which is one type of content is like this foundational content. People call it evergreen content or perennial seller or whatever you call it. And then you have news content. Like, for example, there might be a new product in the market that you have to review. So what will happen is that it will become like 70-30. I would say that 70% of the time, people should be consuming the recorded content that you have created, or the content which you have like, already made high quality content. 30% of the time, it can be like the latest updates. It can be live. So the thing is that unlike YouTubers or any other influencers who have to constantly struggle to create fresh content, uh, you will have like a much better time and much easier time doing this, because your foundational content is now kind of sitting as a foundation, like an attraction magnet, and then everything else takes care of itself. Like for example, I'm doing a weekly mastermind webinar for all the interns,
Hmm.
and I would say that's 20 to 30% of the content I create. And the nature of live content is in such a way that people like live interaction, but the live content that you create, if it is put as a recorded video out there, people are not really going to treat it like it's a very very high quality. It's like, I mean, you watch movies again and again, like the top IMDb 250 movies, you can watch it like 5 times also if you want. But like, have you seen anybody go ahead and watch a recording of a news channel which was even released like 3 days back? If you see it on YouTube 3 days back, no, you don't care. So the advantage with this is that since people value live content a lot, they will also be a little bit lenient towards the quality of the content that you give. I mean, the production quality doesn't mean the content should be bad, but the production quality need not be very high. Like, I can do a weekly mastermind webinar. People will feel like, okay, Deepak is engaging with me live, but at the same time, they will not be like, the content quality is not that great, because the content quality has been already given in the
Right.
recorded content, which is like the foundational content. So it kind of makes the best of both the worlds, right? So I'm pretty sure you have probably spent more than 70% of the time watching my recorded videos,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
probably 30% of the time you might have attended a few webinars to see what's latest. So I would say this is the latest tool, this is what is latest, and everything. So if you structure the content in such a way that where 70% of the content is something that you have already made by having a very deep understanding of who your audience is, and then you keep engaging them live on Telegram, on webinars. I mean, I think you should still do webinars because people always get excited when they interact with the content creator live. It,
Actually, I have a story about the webinar. So during this internship program where you had actually like for one of our assignments, we have had to host a webinar,
Hmm.
and I was very very scared because like
Okay.
Instagram, I don't know, now it's become easy. Initially, even that was very difficult for me, but this webinar was, and I didn't know who's going to come, but I got a very good response, something that I didn't think or anticipate that so many people would actually agree to sign up. And once they signed up, I had to think of a topic. So
Okay.
when I actually got those people to sign up, I didn't even know the topic. I just said NTT Devra, that was the topic. And then I sat down and I thought, and it was in the morning, I remember. And then I developed this whole model, which was 10 slots of 10 minutes each. So
Okay.
this is something that I'd been doing with my son, but very naturally. It wasn't like a planned thing. But when you have to conduct a webinar, you have to plan it and prepare decks and stuff. And it was so amazing, like the response that I got. I also posted it on YouTube, and I think it's one of the most liked videos that I
Nice.
have on YouTube. I
Nice.
just have 3 to 4 videos, and so many parents, still write to me about that webinar, that it's working and so many kids are learning.
Hmm.
Because in that model, you just have to sit with your child for 10 minutes and 10 times a day. So
Okay.
even if you're a working parent and you're working from home, it's easy for you to take 10 minutes out and sit down with your child and do one thing. It
Hmm.
could be just one very small thing like coloring a picture, maybe.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, because with parents, what I felt, especially with mothers, they go through this whole guilt trip of not being able to engage or teach their child anything productively. So now, because they were interacting with their kids 10 times for just 10 minutes, and even if not 10 times, even 5 times if they could manage,
Hmm.
at least when they went to bed, they had this feeling that today I've done so many things with my child, and that made them very happy and excited about their whole day. And
Hmm.
also the kids were not cranky because they
Hmm.
were interacting with their parents at
Hmm.
a frequency of 2 to 3 hours.
Hmm.
So it really worked, and this, the whole credit goes to you for actually encouraging me to host. And I'm glad that I got this idea, and it worked out really well. So
Coming
yes.
coming back to that point, one of the things about the internship program, I think, based on what you mentioned, first of all, it's not narrow. A lot of people were telling me, dude, why are you teaching everything? Just focus on one niche. And I say that my one niche is digital marketing, and digital marketing again is just communication, right? And I cannot leave out a certain part because this all comes together in a very integrated way. I cannot say that, hey, I will just teach Facebook ads. Facebook ads is my niche, because Facebook ads is a method of communication, like it could be a way to get the word out there, but it's just like, putting a shout out. But what are you going to do after the shout out? I mean, uh, I keep giving this dating example into marketing. So it's like, okay, you are going out meeting new people, but if all that's you do, then it's not of any use, right?
Right.
So one thing is that it is completely integrated, and the way I look at it is that digital marketing is like a loudspeaker. In fact, when I start my digital marketing agency again, which I have plans of, probably the logo of it will resemble a loudspeaker. I say loudspeaker because imagine, like, 10,000 years back, you had tribes, and you had a tribal leader talking to people. He will probably get on a stage like place, probably on top of a rock, and talk to people, and he might be able to address 100 people at a time. If he is trying to address 500 people, the person behind might not even hear what this person is talking. Now you have a technology called microphone and a speaker, so you have like a loudspeaker, so you can basically talk to even 1,000 people or 10,000 people in an auditorium, right? You have stand-up comedians hosting 10,000 people, 20,000 people in a single auditorium. It cannot work without having the technology called microphone. So digital marketing is just a much more advanced loudspeaker, because first of all, you don't need to do it in real time. Second of all, you don't need to get all the people to gather in a physical space. So the voice that I am giving out, the ideas and thoughts that I am sharing, can transcend locations, it can transcend geographies, it can even go to the International Space Station, if you will. And it can also transcend time. It need not be at the same time all the time. So you don't need to interact live with people all the time. So it's just like a loudspeaker, except now, I can write something, or I can create like a 5-minute video and send it out to 500,000 people, 500,000 people. And that's what digital marketing is all about. So end of the day, that is the core fundamental, and everything we talk on top of it, trying to build a personal brand, trying to build an email list, trying to build a blog, trying to run Facebook ads, trying to make sure that the Facebook ad is paying for itself, is eventually to just get more reach,
Right.
right? So first, obviously, there are two components in it. One is that your ideas have to be very strong and revolutionary. Otherwise, even if you have all the technology, then people will be like, "What is this guy saying?" Right? So if you have some very strong ideas that you want to share, so that has to be strong. But at the same time, your entire structure has to be strong as well in terms of how you distribute the content.
Right.
And one of the things is that if somebody creates, like, let's say, a 10-minute video which has, let's say, information about aliens that he has encountered, and if it feels very real, it will probably get like a 100 million views on YouTube within a week, right? But the thing is that when it comes to information, there are two kinds of information. One is healthy information, and one is junk information, just like food. And the junk food always tastes better. That's what people are craving for all the time. You want chips, you want pizzas, and everything that titillates your brain. But what people really need is good, high quality food, healthy food, which is delayed gratification and probably helps them in the long term. So when I look at Instagram, that is my problem. Instagram and YouTube as a information communication channel, it automatically rewards the junk content, because the recommendation algorithm, and even when you look at your own behavior on Instagram and YouTube, you're always snacking on information. You are looking at a title, okay, 5-minute video, 10-minute video, and eventually people will get tired of it. People will get frustrated. Like, imagine you are spending 3 hours on social media. Will you feel better after 3 hours? You will feel very, very shitty, right? There is no other way. So when people, what they actually need is healthy snacks, and healthy information is what they need, which will probably help them in the long term. Then the best way to give that is to drip feed it, is probably to give it in small chunks. And or maybe my model, where I'm literally forcing people into consuming the content by holding their money and then saying that, boss, you watch this video and then you go ahead and do this assignment, only then I'm releasing the money. So that becomes a way of me getting people to eat that healthy snack, which is that healthy information. Because imagine, Most of the videos in the internship program are like 2 hours long and very, very in depth.
Right.
Imagine if I put the same video free on YouTube, do you think it will go viral overnight? No, nobody is gonna care, right? And such type of content is already available on YouTube. Such type of books are available, but who has the patience to read books nowadays? And people are always snacking on social media. So that's where the difference comes. Like, people could ask, why do you need digital marketing and all that? If you can just put it on YouTube and anybody can watch, then why can't they watch it? No, people are going to be resistant towards the information that they actually need. They will crave the information that they want, but they will resist the information that they need. So how are you going to deliver the information that they need? You give an ethical bribe, which is a lead magnet, you capture them, you drive traffic to your landing page via Facebook ads or Google ads, because you need to interrupt people while they are doing this. There is no other way.
Right.
I mean, people are snacking for information and you are trying to interrupt them and say that you'd stop doing this, you get some healthy information. It's like trying to sell a vitamin pill in a pizza store. Like, people are coming to the pizza shop. They're like, boss, abhi le lo, this is very good for you. So that healthy content by its own will not get the attention. So the attention is being, taken by these snackable information on social media. Then you interrupt people, you give a lead magnet, you capture their email, and you need to obviously cut through the clutter, for which you need to pay, which is Facebook ads or Google ads. But you make sure that whatever money that you are paying to Facebook ads or Google ads eventually gets taken back by the revenue. And then you have pretty much all the reach in the world. If you can figure out a way to put $5 in Facebook ads and get back $10, and if the funnel scales, then you can reach out to the entire world. You don't need organic reach anymore. You don't need to be shouting at the top of the voice, giving exciting content all the time. You can create one piece of content which is a little bit exciting, like my webinar. Hey, how do you make money with digital marketing? How do you make $1,000 a month with digital marketing? Okay, I got your attention. And then I say, boss, you first start with success mindset. You first get disciplined. You work every day. And so basically, I'm attracting people with this. And that's why the funnel is important. That's why digital marketing is important, because you go through the lead magnet, paid ads, SEO, and then you do the drip sequence, and then build that relationship with the audience over a period of time in a very, very deep way, that they have actually consumed hours and hours of your content. And I would say that even a YouTuber who has like a million subscribers, if you look at the average amount of time a subscriber has spent with his videos, it cannot be more than 20 hours or anything like that. But imagine somebody joining my internship program, they probably watch my videos for 20, 30 hours. And it becomes so much that I become part of their life. People have told that they have watched the same video second time, third time. And also it is the fact that you have to do the assignment. And if you have to do the assignment, you are doing something. And if you do something, then you remember it better, right? So all that is definitely what digital marketing is all about. And when
No,
you look
this is
at
absolutely correct. And also, like, I just want to interrupt, like, this
yeah,
thing
yeah,
that you mentioned about monetizing your time on the digital space. This is something that, again, I learned from your program. So I had these products that I had created, but of course, the idea of actually, selling it on Instagram was from one of the videos that you I don't remember which video was it, but you spoke about, that you have to have a physical or some product where you can actually get some money from, and you can keep the cycle on, right? You have to feed the ads. You cannot
yes,
just be feeding
yes,
the ads and not generating anything on the other end. So now I feel that, yeah, like my return on investment, like when I'm doing an ad at least every day, if I'm selling something, so my ad cost is being offset, and then it's a good feeling to run an ad.
yes,
Otherwise
yes.
there's a lot of pressure to just
Anxiety. There is a
keep
lot of anxiety.
so like Saurabh Jain's program, they have this challenge where you have to get more than 5,000 followers in 8 days. So that time I was just feeding the ads, right? And I was just seeing an increase in the follower count. So there was no real money coming in. I was just, spending. But yeah, like, once I started selling the products on Instagram, that's when I actually, this piece could fit, and, I can sustain running these ads even now, and now landing page. So now I have to run ads to my landing page.
Yes,
But yeah, I've actually recovered all the cost for my landing page already.
exactly.
So it's good.
So
Yeah, like I think
yes,
you have to take that risk.
and you are reaching out to this large amount of audience, and then you are extracting these very high quality audience from there,
Right.
who will eventually become your long term customers, and that's the
Right.
only way to build the funnel. And as I said, yes, if you have a digital product, then the digital product pays for the ads itself. It liquidates the ad cost,
Right.
and then you can sell a physical product, which will probably have lesser profit margins. Like
Right.
if you are selling a physical product for 10,000, you can never expect 9,000 profit margin in it. It's very difficult. Even Apple iPhones do not have that kind of margin. So the way I am building my funnel is that I'm also building a SaaS company. And when you look at most of the SaaS companies out there, they have this funnel where they have a free software and then they have a paid software. The free software acts like the lead magnet, like a freemium thing, and then they have the paid software. But they also have free content which they call content marketing. So they put out videos, they put out blogs and everything, so they do the content marketing. But when you try to look at the entire funnel, what if you had free content and paid content, and then free SaaS and paid SaaS?
Right.
uh, Both are still digital products, both have high profit margins, and use the leads that you generate from your free software to sell the paid content, and use the free leads that you generate from the content to sell the paid software. Or you can advertise the free content, get the leads in, get them to buy your paid content, ad cost gets liquidated, and whatever software you are selling them, it is like your 100% profit,
Right.
because you are like getting completely into it. So that way, when you grow your business long term, you can probably hire someone like Lalit, who is like an app developer or something.
Right.
You could create like an app for parenting. It could be as simple as you said, right? Spend 10 minutes with your child 10 times a day.
Right.
It could be a simple Android or an iOS app where they can just put their schedule, and just give you an alarm. Or
Right.
it will probably let you take some notes of how much did you spend time with your child today, and are you
Mhm.
spending time with your child every day for a streak of 30 days.
Right.
It could be something as simple as that, and that becomes a lead magnet. And from there you can sell your paid course, and from there you can sell your paid physical products as well. So yeah, that's how you find the light at the end of the funnel.
Right. So many ideas. Yes. Yes.
Actually, I'm getting all these ideas because I have also thought extensively about the parenting niche.
Right.
In fact, I will give you one more idea. So you have gone through the 11th week, right? Deep marketing, where you are segmenting your customers and creating content based on who they are and putting all this conditional content. So this might be a little bit complex to execute, but imagine you have a parenting newsletter, and while they are signing up for the newsletter, they have to put their child's age, and they have to put the gender of the child. And this can start from pregnancy itself. And
Right.
imagine if you know that, okay, this person X is at this stage of parenting. They have a daughter 3 years old. And if you have one mega sequence where let's say it's like a newsletter which goes out once in a week, all right? And imagine that you are designing it from the third trimester,
Right.
okay? And third trimester all the way up to teenage. It's probably like a 15-year sequence. One for male child, one for female child. And the way you are letting people to enter this funnel is based on how old their child is. So if the entire sequence is like this, somebody who is just pregnant will enter it here. Somebody who has a 5-year old kid will enter it here. And every time they get a mail, and imagine like you are saying, okay, now that your boy is 6 years old, you will probably find out that okay, he might want this, he might want this, and this is a huge opportunity in affiliate marketing. You can recommend products, you can recommend clothes on Amazon.
Right.
Top 10 apparels for 6 year old your 6-year-old daughter.
Right.
And then you say, hey, now your daughter is 7 months 7 years old. She might probably be interested in these toys. She might want to join these classes. Set it and forget it. You have like a $100 billion idea right there, right?
Wow.
Where pretty much every parent could be a subscriber, and it will be relevant week on week. It will be relevant to them.
Right.
Mm,
It's a
yeah.
phenomenal idea, actually. Yeah. Not very
Yeah,
easy to execute, but
not
yeah.
very easy to
Yeah.
execute, but still,
Yeah.
the implementation might be a little bit tricky. But it's just a tech problem.
Right.
But imagine you have a kid. Imagine you are doing this for, like, let's say up to 15 years of the kid's age, and you have 52 weeks in a year, and imagine 16 years, okay, 1 year even before the birth. So 16 into 52, you are talking about 992 pieces, like approximately 1,000 pieces of content for a male child, 1,000 pieces of content for a female child. You are talking about 2,000 articles. That's it. And these articles can be in such a way that they also link to your blogs, where the blogs can have dynamic content, if you will. Like, for example, if you have like a single page which talks about the latest apparel for a 10-year-old boy child, you can update that page if you want. It need not appear on the newsletter.
Right.
So that way you can keep updating it, and every time the newsletter goes out, it links to that page. So you are basically building a machine to drive traffic to your blog. The blog can be updated with a team, but you are talking about 2,000 pieces of content. That's it. And imagine there are so many bloggers, YouTubers who have created 2,000 videos or 2,000 articles on their blog, and then eventually once you start making money, you can outsource it as well.
Right.
Mm. Yeah, it's a very big niche, parenting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very, very big, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's a lot that you can do.
Yes. Yes.
So, yes, it's been yeah, great. I'm trying to take small steps and see how it works
Yeah,
for me.
eventually you can see how this can be scaled.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
but but yeah, I mean,
But yeah, I
uh,
think this is the easiest money that I've made ever. Like
okay.
initially, when you set up any business, it
Yes,
takes time, right? It takes time. It takes a lot of patience and for the money to flow in. Like
yes,
the
yes.
first retail thing that I did, it was with my father. So he had this distributor network for apparels, and then I put it online.
Mm,
And online also, it was just like, selling through Amazon,
mm,
Flipkart. So not like you needed a lot of brain to do it, but just like a little discipline and structure.
mm.
And yeah, for the first 4 months we didn't sell anything, and I was very demotivated because I said no to a very good high paying job, and then making zero money. And there was a point when I didn't even want to meet my friends and tell them, okay, I've made like nothing after a master's degree. But then, it
Yeah,
did come in, and when it comes in, it just comes in like in a lot of quantity, like it
yes.
suddenly just flows in. So yeah, but
Yeah,
in this,
that's what they always say, right? Until money comes in, you are like wondering where it is, and
right,
once it starts coming in such speed and abundance that you can't like
right,
put a stop to it. And
right,
and I think I read about this in Think and Grow Rich, and a
right,
bunch of other people have also said that.
right.
Hmm.
But in
So
this
yeah.
case, I think there was very little patience that was required in terms of at least making small amount, if not lot. So at least the validation that, this is working and it's going to work, and this is something that I can, stick with and try to scale it upwards. So it was very motivating, especially when nothing else is working and you have something that can suddenly start
See, motivation
doing
and
it.
excitement can come only from things which are uncertain. If they are certain, then it's boring. I mean, imagine if
Right,
you join a job where you know that you will get 1 lakh a month and it will increase by 10% every year for the rest of your life. I mean, it can become a very boring job. The
right,
entire entrepreneurship journey is about, hey, I don't know how this is gonna work. And imagine I have like done 500 webinars till today, and each and every webinar I still have a doubt. Will I be able to sell enough today?
right,
Each and every webinar, I mean, the confidence has gone up a lot, the doubt has gone down a lot, but it is still not zero. Still something could happen. And you are also modifying the sales pitch a little bit, so you don't know whether it's going to work or not. But again, it's the lottery of efforts, right? I mean, just like a lottery ticket that you buy, you don't know whether you win or not. Obviously the winning percentage is like very, very less there. But entrepreneurship is just about putting a lot of different efforts.
right,
Some efforts will give you like astronomical returns. Some efforts will just die off. Like I have like 100 projects which has died off. Domain names, or I would like buy a domain name, start this project, do this, do that. But there is no other way. You just have to play
yeah,
that lottery, and you have to be okay putting some effort. and not getting something in return for guaranteed. But unfortunately, the Indian mindset is just that, you know, I want guarantee. I want a government job. You know, even now people are like, sir, I'm joining the internship. Will you give a guaranteed placement? Will job is guaranteed? I mean, I don't know what to say. How can I guarantee a job? And what's there with this whole guarantee thing? Like, what would you lose if you just put some efforts and time and energy and nothing comes out of it? So I think people need to change that a lot. I think that's one of the reasons why this whole cashback model with the internship is working very well,
Yes, yes.
because my goal for them to do a webinar is not to just get the cashback.
Mm.
I want them to experience, just like you had a friction doing webinar for the first time.
Right.
A lot
This
of
was a
things.
sales webinar.
Yeah,
I did make sales also, and that was like, "Acha, and I feel that my pitch was horrible.
yeah,
When I
of
was
course.
doing it, I
Everybody's
was
pitch
like,
will
I
be
think
horrible.
she's never going to buy it. This is very, very bad. And she didn't actually during the call, she didn't, but then she sent me a message and then she told me, okay, I think I want to buy it. So
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
I was like, okay, this did work.
Mm.
I think I did 3 calls and I ended up selling on all three. Like
Oh,
not
yes,
very big
yes.
amount, but
But some
at
sales will
least
come.
it happened. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah. So
yes.
the friction I feel, yeah, definitely what this program really helps with is actually overcoming the friction
Mm.
and trying to execute. And
Mm.
for me, like more than the money, I actually after the first mindset video only I felt that I've recovered all my money.
Yeah.
And it was so deep and so nice. And so whenever I buy a course, and I keep buying, and I use my husband's credit card because there's some problem with my credit card. I'm not a card user at all. So every time I'm buying, then what are you doing? Kabhi 30,000, kabhi 15,000. And I was like, and so whenever I buy, I was like, okay, one day I've gone and stayed in a hotel. This is better. Okay, at least
Yes,
now I'm
yes.
home. So now I'm not traveling at all. So for me, when I invest in knowledge and
Yeah.
education, and all of this comes with like a lifetime access.
Yes.
So it's actually a no-brainer. Like it's a very easy
In
decision
fact,
to
in fact,
make. I
people have buyer's remorse with a lot of things, but I have never seen people having buyer's remorse with knowledge or education, because even one, like as you said, just the first video, you felt like you have got your money back. Just
Right.
one idea from that, could change your life. It could change the direction of your life, and it probably gives like the highest ROI on any investment that is available. It could be 1000x or 10,000x 5 years down the line.
Right.
And this 2020 alone, you wouldn't believe, I have invested $40,000 in education. I have joined a mastermind group where there are only 60 people, and all the 60 people are millionaires, and everybody makes more than $100,000 a month in revenue. And we have a weekly mastermind call with just these people with our mentor, and that membership cost me $40,000. And I was okay with it because, and in fact, I wiped out my entire equities and stock market, whatever I had. But I think I have made like enough for probably more, since I have started doing it, because the mindset changes. Now
Right.
once the mindset changes, once you talk to those people, imagine like today's call, this particular call might have given you a lot of ideas. It will change the pattern of your thinking, it will change the way you approach the business. But yeah, getting back to that whole point about the whole cashback, what happens is that this whole friction that happens when you try to understand a new tool, which is something that even I have. Like even if I have to understand a new tool, there is a level of friction and anxiety, right? It's just like trying to find a new place in a new locality. Should I turn left, turn right? Unless you have like a GPS, imagine your friend is just guiding you to come to her new home. The first time you try to go there, it will be like a lot of anxiety, right? Even if you are like, I know I'm a well-educated person and I'm in a good city, it's still anxiety inducing because it's an unknown place, it's an unknown building. But once you go there for the first time, the second time becomes like 10x easier. You feel a comfort level. Okay, I know that place. And the same thing happens with people who have even lived for a month or two in a new city. And imagine if they are getting a transfer to that new city, they will not feel uncomfortable. Like, for example, if I have to go to Pune and set up a company there, I don't have any problem because I have been in Pune. I have visited Pune several times. I know the city. I have roamed around. I have had food in a bunch of restaurants. I have met friends. So what happens with this whole tech thing is that if you have to figure out a new tool for the first time, like set up an email marketing sequence, install Zoom and do your first webinar, create a marketing automation sequence. It costs a lot in terms of your own getting out of your comfort zone, and we consciously keep rejecting that, doing that, right? And I have several times felt very, very, that there is a friction that, no, I don't want to do this. Let me just go and do some work which I am comfortable with. But I have to like literally force myself. No, Deepak, this is important. Just do it. But that's a part of my mind which keeps trying to pull me away from it. But fortunately, since I worked as a digital marketer in almost 5 6 startups, I had to do it because it was my job. I had to learn new tools. I had to run LinkedIn ads, Facebook ads, Google ads. And because I had done all that in 2016, when I got around to selling information products, and when I had to scale it, there was an immediate comfort zone by putting in all the pieces together and immediately scaling it. It's just like a shortcut. Imagine you know only one route through a city to another part of the city. But even if you have been on a shortcut once, the next time you have to go there, you'll be like, let's take the shortcut. But somebody who has not been in that shortcut before will be like, why take risk? Let's take the long road because I know that it'll take me to that place. So that's what the internship program is doing, right? So whenever there is a cashback and people have a possibility that they will lose the cashback if they don't submit the assignment, in the last minute, they literally force themselves to sit and do it. The goal is not just to give them the cashback, but the goal is to get them comfortable with doing it once. And one of the reasons that the internship program usually gives an effect like a little bit later, like, 6 months after completing the program, 1 year after completing the program, is because suddenly there will be an opportunity, like you stumbled on an opportunity and suddenly you like plug it in, let's do this, let's do this. And once you have everything together in place, you know that, okay, I can scale with Facebook ads. So imagine you have a profitable product. People who do not have knowledge of Facebook ads now have to learn Facebook ads, even if they have a profitable product. But once you have a profitable product, instantly you can 10x your profits because you know that already, right? So that's what I think this program does to people, and I think the results from the program will be more nuanced and slower, rather than being like, I completed the program, I graduated, this is a job that I got. It won't be like that, because tomorrow they could be in a job, and imagine somebody is in a job for 2 years, and after 2 years they are getting a new job, and in the new job they are asking, hey, do you know marketing automation? And suddenly this marketing automation concept is not like a new topic to him because he has already executed it, right? Not just watched a video about it, but actually done it. And once you have done it, it goes from knowledge to understanding. And once something gets to a level of understanding, there is no way to forget it. like like it's like a new territory that you have explored. It's like, if you have played Age of Empires or a game like that.
I've seen
uh,
people playing it. I'm not
yeah,
playing
like in those games, you have a map, and to explore more of the map, you have to move the units around. And once you have moved the units around until the corner of the map, then you know the entire map. That's what like I do. Like whenever I play Age of Empires, we take like a small unit, like a dog or a peasant, and then we send the peasant to the corner of the map so that the map gets unveiled. And then you know the map.
Right.
Right. So this whole learning process is more about knowing the map. Okay, you have marketing automation, you have sales, you have this, you have that, Facebook ads, Google ads. I've tried it once. So people will have a Facebook account, they would have run at least one Facebook ad. People will have an email marketing account. People would have created their own community. People who have done the webinar once. And suddenly at some point in their life, everything will come together and boom, they will start making profits.
Right. Yes, definitely. I feel this program is very like holistic, I would say. And you know exactly like these are the pieces that exist.
Yes.
And this is what I'm very comfortable doing. This is what I can take care of myself. And these are the things that, I need help with. Or, I can actually get in touch with an expert and help them to do it. And the best part about this program is that you just don't know, you also know who to get in touch with because there is a beautiful community and they connect you. So I had this call with Jayant actually, this
Okay.
one-on-one, and I told him that I wanted to create a landing page, and I've been wanting to create one for a really long time, but I've not done it. So then he told me that I'll connect you with Lalit, and you can do it. And then I didn't want to buy ClickFunnels because it's monthly whatever, and I just wanted one page. So now actually instead of getting landing pages, that tool, my plan is to actually get domains. because that's actually cheaper for me also, because one domain and one hosting. So if I need five also, it's still cheaper to get five domains, and I also get to optimize the SEO for the domain name and everything. So I thought that I'll just create like 4 or 5 different landing pages with different domain names. So that's the next plan, and obviously use Instagram to get sales and to get customers. And webinar is my target this year. So
Okay.
hopefully once I have some more products. And also for my landing page, I had this really good idea where I'm selling a free masterclass on parenting. So
Okay.
all those people who buy the whole bundle, they also get, like, it's a physical bundle that I'm selling, but they also get like this thing, a masterclass on parenting. So that could actually, I could actually drive them into my Telegram group and then eventually nurture them. But this nurturing thing, I've been thinking about it for really long. So I think from after this video, I'm going to actually sit down and write those 20 articles before I write all those 2000 pieces of content. I think I have
The
to start.
investment will definitely be worth it because it will have a long-term effect.
Right,
And
right.
I definitely look forward to taking it seriously that you should have to publish a book on parenting, because once you are like a published author, then your authority in the market instantly goes up.
Right, right.
And just in this conversation, you just gave me a new idea for a new position in my company. I'm going to hire someone and put them as a networking manager because you just said that Jayant connected you and Lalit, and now Lalit is
Right,
helping you with the
right.
landing pages. And this is something I heard long back that um, there are a lot of ways to create value. You can create products, you can create services, you can give advice, you can be an inspiration. But one of the easiest and the fastest way to create value is to connect two people, because
Right.
those two people might end up creating so much value together, but you would have been the ignition for it. Like for example, I have a professor in college who was always a little bit enthusiastic, aise karo, waise karo, and he will always be connecting people. And he suddenly, spoke to me and said that you seem to be doing something related to internet marketing, digital. I know a guy in mechanical engineering, but he's like a junior. He's like the third
Hmm.
year, and he said that I will connect you two guys, and he called both of us to his staff room, and but he has become one of my best friends till today.
Wow.
And there are so many things we learned from each other in terms of business. He's like a credit card expert and an SMS expert. He runs an SMS company now, and all my business communications are going through his company, through his SMS thing.
Wow.
And that's because he connected both of us, right? And tomorrow Lalit and you could be working together a long time, and he could be doing landing pages for you. So I think I would do that, probably just
Right.
assign one person that he should always be looking at what people want and thinking about who they can connect them with,
Right, right,
and probably do like a small webinar and say that, hey, you two guys should meet.
right.
Probably you can help this person and this person can help this person.
Right.
So yeah, thanks for that
Yes.
idea.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, this definitely works. I think that the community really helps. Like now, like for Facebook ads, also, like I'm trying to do it myself, but if it doesn't work out the way I want it to, I know
Need
that I can
someone to reach
actually
out.
get in touch with somebody
Hmm.
who can help me actually learn how to do it or do it for me. So
Yes.
definitely, I think I've learned so much. And initially, there was a point where I was always sitting with the laptop and listening to either you or somebody else. And my mom and I shifted with my in-laws for 3 4 months, and my mom-in-law was like, "What is wrong with you? You are always with this laptop. And when are you planning to stop studying?" Because she feels that ho gaya shaadi, ab padhai band karo times. But yeah, like so but I feel it's good, like I feel really good that I'm actually learning so many new things after very long.
Hmm.
And the whole concept of
Hmm.
being a student and getting new information and new knowledge, I think it's great. And I think because of this I would like to continue and keep it like this for the rest of my life. It
Because
really excites me, and I feel very, very good every time I learn something new, I
yeah,
implement
yeah.
it, I execute it, and it works for me. Then
Yes.
that's even more amazing.
If you
So,
remember that 22 emotional levels that
right,
we talked about in the first video,
I do.
one of the easiest way to stay in that zone where you are feeling inspired, powerful, enthusiastic is to keep learning something new.
Right.
And sometimes life gets in the way. I'm getting busy, and I have not watched a course video for a while, for 3 4 days. I have not watched a TEDx talk. I have not watched a I have not read a book. If it is like that, where 3 4 days where I have not consumed anything, my mood changes. And now it becomes very obvious that most of the time I'm always in that mood where I've learned something new, and I feel inspired and I feel
Right.
enthusiastic. So yeah, that is the inspiration behind my company name Learn Today, that
Right.
you should learn something every day. And in fact, I am planning to create a system where I would like send a mail to them every day where like, what did
Right.
you learn today? And
Right.
people just keep
Actually,
entering.
I also got a very good idea from that app thing. Like mothers really struggle about what should they do with their kids every day. So, I can have like different activities for different age groups and tell them on a everyday level that there can be a new update, day one, do this, day two, do this, day three. So I think this is something that can really,
Can
be
think about
useful.
it.
Yeah, and for
You might
different
have
age
to
groups.
invest some time and money into it, but
Yeah,
eventually you can start with a basic app, which can be
right,
like probably 50,000 rupees it will cost if you just get an individual app developer.
right,
But then you can go ahead and try to modify it, improve it, and it can become a huge lead generation engine for you, where you can take leads from the registrations on the app and
hmm,
then push them into your newsletter, book, products,
right, right, right.
everything. Hmm.
Right. So this is a great idea actually.
Yeah, lots of ideas today, I think, for both of us.
Yeah, yeah, lots,
Yeah.
definitely.
This entrepreneur bug once said bites, no. It's like Spider-Man. It's like bitten once, then it's not like bitten once, twice shy. It's like bitten once, then you're into it. Then you can't go
Yes,
anywhere.
that's true.
Cool. So I think it has been quite some time. Time flew. Almost more
Thank you.
than 1 hour, 15 minutes we have been
Oh, wow.
discussing. But good. And if you don't mind me asking, how much financial impact has this internship program had? Since you joined the program, like if you have to put a monetary value on it.
So if I just combine all the information and like from you and from all the other people that I've enrolled with, I think I must be hitting around 10 lakh
Oh wow.
in terms of in terms of sales, not profit. I think sales would be 10
Yeah,
lakh,
yeah.
and
Mm.
yeah, profit would be not too less also
Yeah,
because the investment is not too much, I
too
would say.
much. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I've kept this like a low barrier of entry as of now,
Right.
because we are able to make it work, and we want to give the access to as many people as possible. We can also price it at 50,000 rupees and maybe give
Right.
like a 20,000 cashback, but that would restrict a lot of people from entering into,
Right.
into
Right.
the program. And here you have a lot of young people coming out of the college, and they might not have 50,000 lying in the bank account. They might not
Right.
have a credit card.
Yeah, like Lalit is a classic example, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was just out of college. I think he's still in college, right?
Yeah, he's still in college.
Yeah,
He's
and he's
still
already making
finishing.
money as a freelancer. And yeah,
But he's good. Like his work, he's very fast. I'll just put a good word for him also because he's really helped me. So he's very, very fast. And whatever like the previous experiences that I had with other web developers, they're very slow with making the changes. You give them, you have to write an email and
uh,
then they just sit with the email for really long.
uh,
Until then, you've actually forgotten what you had mentioned. And then you have to go through it again and go through the whole thing again. And then but with this it was very easy because I was just telling him that this I was sending him screenshots and he kept making those changes almost instantly. So
mm,
it was very nice to work with him because this was the first time I was seeing those changes so quickly, and it was just very instant.
fantastic,
So
fantastic. I think my biggest value addition will be in trying to make this ecosystem stronger,
right,
where people can help each other and make it like a community-driven learning. But after learning, you also end up providing services to each other. Like certain people graduating from the program are students who want to become freelancers, and then we have people like you who are already running a business and want to scale up the business. So this ecosystem can become like really powerful. Mm.
right. I think you're already working on some product that you
Yes,
had
yes.
mentioned.
It just gets reinforced. And also thinking about how exactly it should be structured, the more I talk to people, instead of trying to spend time in the thought land, it is more like getting feedback from the marketplace.
Right.
Cool. So
Okay,
let's
thank you.
let's wind up. Otherwise, we'll keep talking.
Yes, yes.
Probably we will catch up 6 months or one year later again, and see how your business is doing and probably new ideas that we can implement.
Right.
Done.
Okay,
So
thank you so
thank you.
much.
Have a great
Thank
day,
you.
and
Yes, you
regards
too.
to
Thank you.
everyone in your family and to your kid as well.
Yes,
So
thank you.
thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.